Good morning, I'm Pedro Beauchamp,
I'm Christine Beauchamp.
and today we're going to be chatting about the rules of golf. Rules number 12, the bunkers.
Bunkers. What are bunkers? Bunkers are those specially prepared areas of sand, which are usually hollow, from which turf or soil has been removed. Um, let's see what's not part of the bunker, because it's important when your ball is there, which rules to apply. Not part of the bunker is that wall, lip, or face of the bunker, which is usually consists of soil, grass, or stacked turf, or any other artificial materials. Remember, as of the new rules, the wall, lip of the bunker are not part of the bunker. Also not part of the bunker are these islands of grass, commonly known as the church pews. If your ball is on top of the grass on the church pews, your ball is not in the bunker. And not part of the bunker either is if your ball rests on a bush, on a tree, or on a branch that overhangs that bunker and not touching sand, your ball is not in the bunker. Not part of the bunker is this area of spillage here. The sand that has spilled outside that edge of the bunker is not considered part of the bunker. And in some courses, like we have here in Puerto Rico in our Cocoa Beach Championship course alongside hole 15, we might find some large areas of sand, sandy areas known in the rules as waste bunkers or waste areas. They're areas where you can even travel in your golf cart. You will not find the rake inside these areas or alongside them. And these are not bunkers. Just like if you play in Arizona in desert-like conditions, you will be playing in areas with cactus and sand and whatever, and these areas are not part of the bunker. Okay? Sand is that material that is in that hollow area known as the bunker, but sometimes it includes additional material like crushed shells. That's part of the bunker too. And sometimes we don't have enough sand, like sometimes here at home, and we have to mix it with soil, and all that is considered the material that covers the ground in your bunker. So your ball, just to be a little bit repetitive, your ball is in the bunker. If your ball touches the sand on the ground, is inside that edge of the bunker. And even if it's on that ground, which due to excessive rain or whatever has washed away some of the sand, but sand should be in that area, your ball is there and your ball is within the bunker. Your ball is inside the edge of the bunker and it's resting on top of a loose impediment, it's resting on top of a movable obstruction, more commonly known as the rake or scorecard or something of the like. It's within an abnormal course condition like a puddle of water or even on top of an integral object. If all these things are within the edge of the bunker, your ball is considered to be in the bunker. And to review, if your ball lies on soil, on grass, or on any other natural object that is inside the bunker, your ball is not in the bunker. And the most common example is these islands of grass that we find in some bunkers. And even if you have to place your feet on the sand in the bunker to play this stroke, your ball is not considered to be in the bunker, so that you may practice, ground your club, and hit that grass as you play practice swings to execute your shot out of the bunker.
Often our ball arrives in a bunker and it's covered by leaves or it's next to a movable obstruction, and we want to search for our ball because we cannot find it. So the rules will allow us to remove loose impediments and remove movable obstructions to the point that we can identify our ball. Here we have a bunker covered with leaves, and what do we want to do? We want to remove as many leaves as possible so that we can identify our ball. We can remove loose impediments. We can remove movable obstruction like a can of Coke, like the ball is under a towel or under a scorecard. We remove that movable obstruction so that we can identify our ball. There is no penalty for removing the loose impediments, and the good news is we don't have to replace those loose impediments, and we can play our shot from the bunker. If the ball moves, there's no penalty. We can just replace it and play it. Now, often our ball may be embedded in the bunker, and we cannot see it at plain sight. So we have to rake, move the sand with our feet, with our hand, with a club. We just move enough sand so that we can identify our ball. That will be perfectly normal, and there's no penalty for it. What do we have to do? If we find our ball, we have to replace the ball in the area, and since it was covered by sand, we need to cover it again, but we can leave a small window of area that we can see our ball so that we can play the ball. There's no penalty for that. However, the penalty arrives when we replace that ball, but we put it on top of nice sand. We don't recreate our lie. Then we're playing from a wrong place because that wasn't the place our ball was at. And we will be getting the general penalty, which is 2 strokes or loss of hole if we're playing match play. When we are not searching our ball, but we want to remove a loose impediment, obviously there will be an inadvertent touching the sand, and that would be okay. There's no penalty. The penalty occurs when you move the ball, because if you're not searching, you can remove loose impediments, but if the ball moves, then you get a penalty for moving the ball, 1 penalty stroke. If you don't replace it and you play from the new location, then it becomes 2 penalty strokes, 1 for moving and 1 for not replacing in the area where it should have been. Okay? So be careful when you remove loose impediments from a bunker.
So let's see what things we can do and we're not allowed to do when our ball finds itself in the bunker. I want to remind you a little bit of our old rules before 2019, where the rules we applied to what we knew as hazards and we know as penalty areas and bunkers were the same rules applied. Now after 2019, we've had a divorce between these 2 areas and different rules apply. In the penalty area, the rules are very similar or the same as in the general area, but in the bunker, these rules are very specific. So let's see what we can do and what we're not supposed to do. So when your ball's in the sand, we cannot deliberately touch that sand with your hand, with a club, with a rake, with an object, in order to test the condition of the sand, to learn any information that might help me in my next stroke. I cannot see if that sand is loose, compact, wet, dry, what kind of sand is it. I cannot obtain any information by testing that sand that might help me in my next stroke. I'm not allowed to touch that sand with a club right in front of or right behind the ball in order to align ourselves as we usually do in the general area. That's not allowed. We're not allowed during our practice swings to touch that sand while we practice to execute our next stroke, and we're not allowed to, as we bring our club back in the backswing of our stroke, we're not allowed to touch that sand. Not allowed. Okay, so there are certain things that we are allowed to do. As we're normally in the bunker, we like to find ourselves our stance and dig in reasonably. We're allowed to do that in order to execute our shot. We're also allowed to smooth the bunker for the care of the course. We're allowed to do that as long as it doesn't help us in our next stroke, doesn't alter any of the conditions for our next stroke. We're allowed to place our clubs, our whole bag if we wish, equipment, towels, any other objects in the bunker. I may be even frustrated and I might just throw them in there. I'm allowed to do that. There's no breach of the rule. And I can even, when I'm applying a rule, undoubtedly I will have to measure, I will have to lift, mark, and replace my ball. And undoubtedly I will touch the sand by applying that rule. So there's absolutely no problem, no breach of the rule there. I can also lean on a club, lean on a rake as if it was a cane if I am assessing my next stroke, if I'm waiting for it to be my turn, or I'm merely catching my balance to prevent from falling. For all those reasons, I may touch that sand with the rake or the club, and there's no problem, that's allowed. And if I've played a stroke and unfortunately I didn't come out of that bunker and I'm angry and frustrated, I can hit that sand in anger and there's no breach of the rule. There might be times when, in order to be safe while I play my stroke, if I have any thought that my ball might be interfered by some roots, by some cement surrounding a drainage or something which might interfere with my ball, I can probe with a T gently and I can see if there's any interference in it, and if so, then there might be a rule that might allow for relief and allow for the safety of my next stroke. And all those things that I told you that were allowed and not restricted under the bunker rule are allowed as long as you do it reasonably and as long as you don't do it in excess in order to improve any conditions that will affect your next stroke, because then that would involve the general penalty in stroke play of 2 strokes or loss of hole in match play.
Once your ball is out of the bunker, there's no restrictions of what you can do with in the bunker. For example, you can touch sand, you can also smooth the sand, you can rake it, etc., etc., once your ball is out of the bunker, because you have executed your shot and the ball is out. So there's no restrictions. That even includes when the player is required or is allowed to play back again from the bunker. Example, you play a ball from the bunker and the ball unfortunately goes out of bounds. You are required under stroke and distance to play again from the bunker. You can smooth your footprints, etc., etc., in the area that you are going to drop and execute your next stroke. Let's say, for example, you hit your ball into an unplayable situation, out in the woods, into an unplayable situation, and you want to play again from where your last stroke was made, which was from the bunker. You can smooth and prepare the area so that you can have a smooth condition to play again. No restrictions of repairing when you executed your shot and the ball is out of the bunker. Often it may happen that the player may play backwards from the bunker, play out, and there's a series of footprints that the player wants to smooth in that area. Since the ball is out of the bunker, there's no restrictions, even though this improvement may help in the next stroke because the ball is out of the bunker. Now, there are other conditions that the rules will give us relief. One of them is an abnormal course condition. How frequent we go into a bunker and we find a bunker full of water, used to be called casual water, now temporary water. The rules will allow us free relief, and the rules that apply is the rules of the nearest point of complete relief. We don't use the back on the line, we don't use the 2 club length for an abnormal course condition in a bunker. This is a free relief. how do we proceed? We go and we find an area where there is no interference from, let's say, from the casual water. That will be our relief point, reference point. Then we make a relief area, which is 1 club length from that area. Any club that you have, the longest club that you have in your bag, except the putter, and you make a 180 degree like a pie, and you drop the ball knee high from that area. But that nearest point of complete relief has to be in the bunker and cannot be closer to the hole. There are other times where there is no nearest point of complete relief. However, there might be a point of maximum available relief. And it is usually better to hit your ball from, instead of 2 inches of water, from half a centimeter of water. So the rules will allow that you choose an area of least interference, this maximum available relief is only available when there's no nearest point of complete relief. This rule applies to bunkers and also to the putting green, not anywhere else, only those 2 areas. And it is the area that least interferes with your stroke. Okay? There's no free exit out of the bunker. If you want to play your ball out of the bunker, you can, but it will cost you 1 penalty stroke. The rule that is used is the back on the line relief, and we draw a line from the flag to where the ball lies, back on that line, no matter how far back you want to go, including outside of the bunker. You establish your reference point and your relief area as before, 1 club length around it, not closer to the hole. The club, longest club in your bag, except for the putter, and you can play the ball. There's 1 penalty stroke to getting out of the bunker. Playing inside the bunker is free from an abnormal course condition, but playing out of the bunker will cost you 1 penalty stroke.
There are times also that our ball finds itself in an unplayable position within the bunker, and there are options. Let's see what those options are. I want to declare my ball unplayable, and I have the same 3 options that I have in the general area. These options are, as we commonly say, ABC. We might play our ball again from where we played our last stroke. That's option number 1. We might play our ball back on the line. That's option number 2, where we draw that imaginary line between the flagstick through the ball, find the reference point, and measure with our longest club that relief area. And our third option would be the 2 strokes from where the ball lies. All these options, the same as in the general area, options 2 and 3 must be within the bunker. However, if I do not want to play from within the bunker, up to 2019, my only option involved all that distance, stroke and distance. Now, with the new rules, which have become friendlier, they have allowed us a 4th option when I want to declare my ball unplayable in the bunker. I may step out of the bunker and find the back on the line relief, which you've heard, that imaginary line from the flagstick through the ball as far back as I want. I find the reference point, my club length to determine the relief area, and I drop within the relief area. The ball must remain in the relief area. It can be your original ball or another ball. And for that unplayable stroke within the bunker plus an additional one for coming out, for a total of 2 strokes, I have now declared my ball unplayable and I'm ready to go. to finish my hole. This has been our segment on bunkers. Hope to see you again in one of our future chats.
We will have other chats and different topics, and in the meantime, happy golfing.
Bye.
Bye.